What job exists because we are stupid? Traffic police in Baltimore. I was there this summer and the gridlock was atrocious. People push their way into the intersection. The light turns red. And they are stuck there until the light is about to turn red in the opposite direction. At which point those people push their way into the intersection and the cycle perpetuates. During rush hour, they have police standing in the intersections, not to direct traffic, though, simply to hold their hand up when the light turns red so that people don't push their way into the intersection. Basically, a human has to stand in traffic for hours just to tell the drivers what the lights mean. It was unbelievable. The guys who install rubber padding around telephone and light poles so when we walk and text, we don't break our noses walking straight into them. Safety manager here. A big portion of my job is saying stuff like please don't smoke near this flammable liquid or other things most of us take for granted that people already know. At my university we have a person whose job is to stand by the garbage area and make sure people dispose of their trash appropriately. On crowded nights, Disney Springs has employees working at crosswalks at the intersections from the overflow parking lot to tell people when they can cross. They're normal intersections that have lights telling you when you can cross. People just don't acknowledge them and will try to run across oncoming traffic. Met a guy once. His job was putting dirt on potatoes. Somebody along the supply chain washed them pretty well by the time they got to the grocery. People didn't trust the clean potatoes. So one guy had to put dirt back on them to make them more authentic. Semicolon. Edit. Wow, silver. My first. Thank you. I'm a self-serve gas station attendant. Honestly, the only reason I'm here is to slap the emergency stop button if someone starts pumping gas outside their car gas can. Oh. And shut off the pumps when I leave. The companies that get you out of timeshares. My husband is a labor and employment attorney for a massive company and gives monthly seminars to everyone there to not send dick pics as sexually harass one another. And like clockwork someone in that room does it within a couple weeks. Tier 1 IT support. Did you try turning it off and on again? Sure you did. Could you blow into the cable to make sure there is no dust in the connector so the cable was loose? How surprising. Have a good day. I have a side gig doing data entry. I earn $25 USD HR copying and pasting stuff from a web page into an Excel spreadsheet. While doing some light formatting. Edit. Holy karma Batman. To answer a few repeat questions. I know the employer personally. Which led to me picking up this work. It's not a lot of hours a week. But the extra money is definitely useful. It's difficult finding this kind of work. You won't find it looking for job ads. You need to approach companies that you feel would have a need for this kind of service. Reddit influencers. It's service help desk. My job exists because of stupid and let me give you a pro tip about computers. Computers don't break because they don't do what you tell them to. Computers break because they do exactly what you tell them to. PFT. My mother gets hacked every day through her dial-up. She refuses to upgrade because the constant connection means the hackers can hack her more. They make her Facebook run slow coughs, dial-up coughs. Why does she think she's being hacked? Things run slow a lot. One look at her desktop tells me everything I need to know. Everything she interacts with ends up there. She constantly complains about slow startup. If it's not on the desktop, she can't find it. My favorite part. She always tells people that she is a programmer because she used to use DOS. Also, she's a computer expert because she took a class 20 years ago. She's the embodiment of her generation's relationship to computers. Psychic detectives. Because why trust a professional detective to be intuitive? Litter control personnel for public parks and beaches. I remember when I was a kid my mom used to take my brother and I to this park across town. One time I had a wrapper from a piece of gum in my pocket and I walked to the trash to throw it away. A police officer happened to be just patrolling the parking lot and saw me throw the wrapper away. He came over to me and told me I did a good job by doing that, and he gave me a coupon for a free ice cream at the DQ. I told him I was just doing what I thought everyone else was doing. He told me that wasn't the case. I don't get how hard it is to just throw something in the trash. I had a temp job in a posh department store a few years ago. The escalator going down from floor 2 to floor 1 had to be taken out to be replaced, which took a month. Despite the many notices and the signs directing people to the lifts and stairs, a member of staff had to stand at the top of the closed escalator just to direct the public to the lifts and stairs. It broke people's brains, and it was worrying to see how many tried to get past the barriers or got pissed and shouty because there was no escalator. Like, holy shit, how did people cope before moving stairs were invented? Gossip column journalists and paparazzi. I read the title as "Do jobs exist because we are stupid?" And I had a deeply existential moment where I considered becoming a hermit. Rag pickers and road garbage cleaners. Meth lab cleaners. It's pretty sad to see how much this industry is growing in Australia. People often give the U.S. Coast Guard a lot of crap for being the Coast Guard. But they deal with some of the most dangerous specimen on the planet. Stupid drunks with boats. M's first job out of college was to stand outside of Aldi's and help the people how to figure out to put the quarter in the slot to release the shopping cart, and then later, how to put the chain back in to get their quarter back. I said F that. I stood there all day, baked out of my gourd. Attorney. 90% of our work is spent on 10% of our clients. Then they blame us for getting in trouble after doing what we told them not to do. Basically, stupid people keep us employed. Stop breaking the law, asshole. Computer repair for the most part. Probably half of all the things I had to repair were extremely silly mistakes that could have been avoided by simply reading. Whenever people get an error message, they panic and click it away. Most don't even read it. When reading it could already help you fix it. I remember one guy who said he didn't want to pay us to put a SIM card in his phone. I completely understand this, because it's overpriced as hell. But we still told him to make sure to take the nano SIM out of the holder it came in order for it to fit in his phone. 10 minutes later, he came back because he ruined his phone trying to forcefully push the SIM card in the holder into the socket of his phone. I know what I'm doing. Breaks it. This is a piece of junk. All the jobs at MLM companies. Ticket companies that sell you tickets from ticket companies that sell you tickets. Litter pickers. If people used bins instead of throwing rubbish on the floor, they wouldn't be needed. Televangelists. I hope I'll live to see the day people stop giving money to conmen who buy McMansions and private jets and claim they deserve it because God loves them. As a doctor in the US, I'd say at least half of the disease I see on a daily basis is due to stupid decision making. In fact, probably 75% of the cardiac and 90% of the pulmonary floors would probably be empty if people didn't smoke. And these days it's becoming very common to see obesity hyperventilation syndrome. i.e. too fat to breathe. People that get paid to write horoscopes. Okay, this one is legitimately related to us stupidly losing a valuable form of communication. I work in a music school as a piano accompanist. I play for a lot of kids' voice lessons who are training for a professional music career. But solidly half of them do not know how to read sheet music. So the other portion of my job involves making recordings of their sheet music for them so they have some kind of clue WTF is going on. We rely on recordings for everything. So reading sheet music is a fast dying skill. This leaves these poor kids completely unprepared for the real world where they will not always have a pianist who can read their music for them. Many of them come back to visit us and say wow, having pianists in undergrad to help us was really helpful. I feel terrible that I am basically a crutch to help them get through school. Whoa. WTF, how can anyone remotely involved in music not be able to read sheet music? That's TS like 101. I can read treble and alto. I feel like most police fire calls are for dumb stuff. Not saying we need to get rid of them, but we could make their jobs way easier. Bouncers at bars and clubs. Drunk people can be the biggest idiots and you need someone there that can handle them so they don't ruin other people's good time. Help desk. Because in this day and age, there are still people that don't understand UPC needs to be plugged in every so often to charge. If you really think about it, probably like 50% of the workforce. I'm an engineer, and most of my day is spent fixing mistakes, designing things so they work even if the operator is a monkey, and doing things for other people because they can't figure out how. Environmental lobbyists. Could you argue law enforcement? Since people can't behave, a large portion of stupid people waste police officers' time with petty things. He called me an ugly bitch. I'm a cop and I wholeheartedly agree. My job primarily is the direct result of a sect of people who just can't stop being jackasses. If you break everything down to the bare roots of it, it always ends with because she is a dick. We have security guards at my job to basically keep the building safe and merchandise from being stolen. They are great, but part of their job is so ridiculous. I honestly feel so bad for them because they hate being zoned for this part. We have a lower floor with restrooms and our staff door clearly marked staff only. It also auto locks unless you badge. Guards have to be there 24/7 to guide people straight down the only hallway, and then help them figure out which restroom to use because apparently it's so difficult to read the signs pointing toward the restrooms and to look at the sign and determine the gender of each bathroom. We also have a non-gender family bathroom, but it's clearly marked aside from the men and women restrooms. All the way down and to your left. No, straight down. No, that's staff only. No. The left. Men's and on the left. There you go. All day. Every day. Poo Patrol in San Francisco. Poo Patrol. Poo Patrol. Whenever you're in trouble. Poo Patrol. Poo Patrol. They'll be there on the double. No dumps too big. Home registered sign-up ad. OSHA. You know. You probably shouldn't lift one forklift with another forklift and yeah. Probably wasn't a good idea to carry all those metal pipes up right near those electrical lines. FCKU. Psychics and clairvoyants. Exclusively rely on the gullible for income. Safety officer. Common sense is not common. Slaughterhouse workers. Are you kidding? Meat is necessary in our diet. Just kidding. It's absolutely not. Go plant-based today. Used to be an emergency dispatcher. 90% of the calls were because people were stupid. Cart return guy at grocery store. People commenting on this post seem to largely be confusing assholes with stupid. There are a lot of jobs that deal with people being assholes. That does not make them stupid. Just an asshole. Ha. Technical help desks. Edit. Priest. Managers. I ran a depth of 35 developers for many years. And I was keenly aware that all I basically did was ferry information from one person to another. Priorities from execs to developers. Risks from developers to execs. Dates. Schedules. Etc. I was an information processing system. I remember thinking, and if Bob would just remember to tell Alice what she needs to know, I wouldn't be needed. But they can't. Traffic cop. The fact that the road system functions even at this level is a f***ing miracle. Yes. There are still accidents. And even one death is one too many. But the fact that humans can actually pull off what is, by and large, safe movement with the number of vehicles on the road, controlled by drawn lines shows that we can't possibly be that stupid. Reddit mods. They literally work for free. For a startup company worth a few billion. In Great Murica there was a whole campaign where designers, marketers, PR staff, mascots and whatnot were organized to create a bear with a hat. To teach people not to set fire to forests. Well, it wasn't about not setting forest fires in the way you're making it sound. Jobs that add convenience and have little to do with people being stupid. I work in a pool supplies store. My job is mostly to babysit people from the moment they enter the store until they leave. Because nobody ever knows anything about how to take care of their pool or what kind of equipment they have. My job is like if there was a guy at the grocery store who would meet you and ask you what you need. And you'd tell him I dunno. It's a vegetable and then he'd say okay. What kind of vegetable and then you'd say I dunno. It's round. And he'd ask what color is it? And you'd say I'm not sure. Gray? Green? Brown? And after going through all the potential vegetables that could be, it would turn out that you meant a watermelon. And he'd go get the watermelon for you because you can't be trusted to grab a watermelon instead of a pumpkin. Televangelist. Just send us your money. We need that new jet. Classroom support. I'm specifically thinking about my current engineering classes, where an electrical engineering professor preaches problem-solving skills above all, until he is confounded by a projector. 90% of tech support staff. Did you turn it off and back on again? Is it plugged in? Those parking guides at the Disney World parking lot. It takes a team of 10 people just to make sure we all park correctly. An activity we all do multiple times a day. Edit. I did this job for a year at Disney. Definitely a needed service. But people really lose their minds when they get to Disney. So many cars left running with doors open that people abandon to get to the gate quicker. Here in Brazil exists the Frentista, which is a guy that uses the gas pump to fill your tank when you're at the gas station. You read right. In some states you are not allowed to pump your own gas. Slot machine attendant. If people could do math, no one would play slots. Editors. Because sometimes people put a space between a word and a punctuation mark. You're making this too easy. Insurance. No. You do not have the right of way because your turn signal was on. You have to look before backing up. 60 miles per hour is not an appropriate speed in a parking lot. No. The truck is not at fault. You cut him off. He couldn't see you. Yes. You're at fault for rear-ending that car. No. They didn't have a braking problem. You hit a parked car. You hit a pole. No. They didn't jump in front of you. Yes. We know what industrial paint is. No, your mother cannot be a character witness about how you must be telling the truth. Teachers. Kids are simply ignorant, not stupid. Well, for the most part. IT. You guys have no clue how much we get paid for the really low effort of work we do. Literally our job is Googling 90% of the time. And that's only when the problem gets rough. Gas pump attendant. Surely warning disclaimer writer is the correct answer. Fortnite coaches. Lies. This isn't real. This can't be real. Edit. I have been getting a lot of comments and I feel like a lot of people misinterpreted me. I meant this as a joke first because you know how everyone hates Fortnite. I personally love video games and seeing this is amazing to me. I totally support it. A lot of people seem to be confusing didn't take years of training or experience to do my job with stupid. Just because I'm not an expert on the nuances of a particular job doesn't mean you're paid to do it because I'm stupid. It means you're paid to do it because it's not worth my time to learn. It's a lot of people who are confusing stupid with ignorance. Ignorance is not always bad. I'm not a computer whiz, so I need a help desk sometime. Teachers are not because we are stupid. We just lack information. The list goes on. Half the responses in this thread are dead wrong. People need help for more reasons than stupidity. Mechanic checking in. 80% of the shit that rolls or gets flatbedded to the shop is because people who own cars are stupid. Here, let me replace that headlight bulb for you. Dot. Oh whoops, looks like you have the type of car where you have to remove the F-King bumper to get at the headlight housing.